Let's understand what are the exemptions under GST. Negative list under GST. The following are the categories which comes under negative list. First, service by employee to employer in the course or relation to the employment. Second, services of funeral, burial, crematorium. Third, sale of land. Fourth, sale of completed buildings. Fifth, actionable claims. Sixth, services by any court or tribunal. Seventh, functions performed by the MPs, MLAs, etc. Eighth, duties performed by any person who holds any post in pursuance of the provisions of the Constitution in that capacity. What are exempt supply under GST? Supply of goods may not attract GST in the following cases. First, where the goods is not taxable partially or wholly under the GST rule. GST rates are not yet announced or notified for petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel. Hence, GST is not applicable on them. Second, where the good is part of zero-rated list. Third, where the supply of goods has been declared GST exempt through a notification from the government. So, we can say that exempt supply are the ones where no GST is charged and input tax credit on these goods and services cannot be utilized. GST exemption from registration for goods and services. The following are the categories which are not required to take registration under GST. First, person making supplies covered under reverse charge. Second, agriculturist. Third, the exemption limit for registration for supply of goods and services is Rs 40 lakhs, while for hilly and northeastern states like Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Tripura, Sikkim, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Manipur, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, the GST exemption limit for goods supplier is 20 lakhs. Those suppliers whose supply of goods and services is below the mentioned category are not liable to take registration under Goods and Services Act. Fourth, the GST exemption from registration for supply of services has remained at Rs 20 lakh for hilly and northeastern states and 10 lakhs for all other states. Fifth, persons who are making nil rated and exempt supply of goods and services and which are not covered under the supply of goods and services are also not required to take registration for goods and services under the GST Act. GST exemption for goods and services. There is a list of goods which do not attract GST as recommended by the GST Council. The reason for granting exemption on goods might include any of the following. First, it might be in public interest. Second, the exemption is as per the GST Council's recommendation. Third, the exemption is granted by the government through a special order. And fourth, the exemption is allowed on special goods through an official notification. Moreover, there are two types of GST exemption on goods and services. These are as follows. First, absolute exemption. Supply of specific goods and services is GST exempt irrespective of who the supplier and the receiver is and whether the goods or services is supplied interstate or intrastate. Second, conditional exemption. GST exemption is subject to some specific terms and conditions. In supply of service, condition states that GST would be exempted if the total value of supplies received by the registered person is not more than INR 5,000 per day. It is notable that SGST or CGST exemption does not immediately grant IGST exemption to the supply of a specific goods and services unless and otherwise specified by GST Act, amended or applicable notification. Here is the list of some of the most common goods which are GST exempt. live animals, meat, fish, natural products, live trees, plants, vegetables, fruits, dry fruits, tea, coffee and spices, grains, products of milling industry, seeds, sugar, water. Also, baked goods, fossil fuels, drugs and pharmaceuticals, fertilizers, beauty products, waste, ornaments, newspaper, printed items, fabric, hand tools and pottery also comes under the goods which are exempt from GST liability. Here is the list of some of the services which enjoy GST exemption. Agriculture service, government services, transportation services, judicial services, educational services, medical services, organizational services, and other services. Treatment of ITC if supply is exempt. In case of exempt supplies, amount of credit as attributable to exempt supplies shall be reversed. Credit attributable to exempt supply is equal to aggregate value of exempt supplies, all supplies other than taxable and zero-rated supplies, divided by total turnover of the portion in the tax period, multiplied by common credit. Common credit, total input tax in a period, less tax attributable exclusively for non-business purpose, less tax attributable exclusively for exempt supplies, less ineligible credit as per section 17 subsection 5 works contract, rent-a-cap, etc., less tax attributable exclusively for taxable supplies including zero-rated supplies. Though GST is applicable for all businesses and on the supply of goods and services, the above-mentioned exemptions are available. These exemptions reduces the GST burden and helps in the socio-economic development of the country.